And a big one that we just touched on, but I want to bring it to your attention again. We do have breaking news in this case. Take a look at your screen. Justin Lum, a reporter from Fox 10, tweeting breaking: Chad Daybell sentenced to death for the murders of J.J. Vallow, Tylee Ryan, and Tammy Daybell. Daybell, the so-called Doomsday Prophet, he was sentenced to death after he was found guilty on all counts in his triple murder case in Idaho. Just this past week on Thursday, a jury found Daybell guilty of killing his wife, Lori Vallow's two youngest children. That was J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, and his previous wife, Tammy. Now, the bodies of J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, they were found buried in the Daybell backyard back on June 9th of 2020. Nearly 4 years later, the fate of Chad Daybell has finally been decided by a jury in Ohio. I do want to pull up some photos of the victims. These are the two children that were killed in that horrific attack that happened already 4 years ago, nearly 4 years ago to the day. And then you see here Chad's previous wife, Tammy, who he was also found guilty of murdering. Earlier this week, we did hear victim impact statements throughout the courtroom as a judge worked to sentence Chad Daybell. We do have this reporter package from Justin Lum. He was there at the courtroom, and he has been covering this extensively since these murders were first announced. Let's listen to a full recap of what we heard throughout the week.
Before the jury went into deliberations, the jury also heard 9 victim impact statements. Unlike his wife, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell chose not to address the court for an allocution. In the sentencing phase for Chad Daybell, he chose not to present mitigation evidence, a chance to prevent the death penalty. The prosecution also chose not to present additional evidence, but listed aggravating factors, such as the money made off of 3 murders and the depravity of how 2 young children were killed. Daybell's attorney once again blaming the children's mother, convicted murderer Lori Vallow, who is Daybell's wife.
That bomb that came into his life was a woman who previously had been married 4 times. And that bomb brought chaos to Chad Daybell's life.
Kay Woodcock, the grandmother of J.J. Vallow, says every year J.J.'s birthday passes and he would have just turned 12.
There's a hole in my heart, in the hearts of every member of my family, that can never be filled and will remain for the rest of my life.
J.J. and his big sister, 16-year-old Tylee Ryan, murdered by their mother, Lori Vallow, and Chad Daybell, buried in his backyard until discovered in June 2020.
It's taken a toll on my family, my health, and my overall perspective. And it felt like the world had become a more dangerous place.
Several family members spoke on behalf of Tammy Daybell, suffocated in the middle of the night, leading to a quick funeral arrangement and countless questions about her sudden death.
My sister was ripped from our lives. Because of her murder, we lost a beloved mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, and daughter. She is irreplaceable.
Finally closing arguments as the prosecution reminded the jury that Daybell led the way in rating these same victims as dark spirits before the murders.
He exhibited that power to those around him. He exhibited that power of his self-proclaimed visions to those who believed him and followed him.
The last execution done in Idaho was in 2012 by lethal injection. Last year, though, the governor of Idaho did sign a bill into law allowing execution by firing squad as well. I'm Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum.
Thank you again to Justin Lum. We have really relied on his reporting throughout these past few years when it comes to this case. He's really covered it in such immense detail. Here, a closer look at all of the charges that Chad Daybell was facing. You can see here conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception, first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception, and all of these are different charges relating to all of the victims in this case. You also have a couple of more first-degree murder charges, and finally insurance fraud in regards to Tammy Daybell. I do want to give one more picture here for anyone who may not be too familiar with this case. Once again, we are following the fact that Chad Daybell, who you see on your screen right now, and Lori Vallow, also part of this entire scheme. Lori's 2 children here on your screen were killed Back in 2020, their bodies were found in the backyard of the Daybell household. And now 4 years later, the jury has convicted Chad Daybell and sentenced him to death. Daybell and his then mistress, Lori Vallow, who we saw previously there and Justin really detailed in his reporter package, they caused a wave of destruction that began years earlier. The couple apparently fascinated by this whole idea of a doomsday and also were obsessed with these doomsday fiction books. Lori Vallow, convicted of murder in 2023 in Idaho and sentenced to life in prison without parole. She is currently being held in a prison in Arizona, awaiting a trial based on the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. And hundreds of people were tangled in the web created by both Vallow and Daybell. And of course, we're going to keep on with our reporting here and in conjunction with Fox 10 over in Phoenix, because Lori and her family, they previously did reside in Arizona, and that's why they have been covering this in an extensive capacity. We're going to step away for our first break of the hour here at Live Now from Fox, but we wanted to get a full breakdown on this breaking news that we got earlier today. We'll see you back here on the other side of this break.